Now, another NBA superstar on Team USA, Joel Embiid, recently did an interview with the New York Times, the same one where he lamented the lack of youth on USA's Olympic roster. And he was asked whether injuries are the thing keeping him from being in the GOAT conversation. Listen to his response. Quote, "I think so. I think I'm that talented. Obviously, you need to win championships, and to win championships, you need other guys. You can't do it by yourself. I want to win so bad. If it doesn't happen, maybe it wasn't meant to happen. The thing that stopped me all these years is just freaking injuries. Every single playoffs, regular season, people falling on my knee or breaking my face twice. It's always freak injuries at the wrong time," end quote. Those injuries have certainly played a role in Embiid never getting out of the second round of the playoffs. He has had all-star teammates in the young Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, James Harden, and Tyrese Maxey. We'll see how this season goes with Paul George, but despite being an NBA MVP and two-time scoring champion, Embiid has missed 204 games in his career, the equivalent of over 2 entire NBA seasons. Let me say this, y'all. Embiid is absolutely right. Injuries have gotten in the way because that brother is something spectacular. And without injuries, I have no problem with him being in the GOAT conversation. Let me tell you something right now. That brother, with his skill set, at 7'1", back to the basket, facing the basket, the ability to put the ball on the floor, the finesse game, the power game, three-point shooting game, the list goes on and on. I'm looking at his numbers here. Do you know that Embiid has averaged over 30 over the last 3 seasons, along with 11 rebounds? By the way, not only is he shooting what he's shooting from the field, 49, 54, and 52% from the field, 53% from the field this past season. Not only is he a career 50% shooter from the field, he's also a career 34% shooter from three-point range. You usually don't see that from a center in the National Basketball Association, but that's who he is. Joel Embiid is special. Make no mistake about it. But his injuries are not the only reason he hasn't won. 2 things stand out in my mind. Second on the list would be Jimmy Butler. The Sixers should have never let him go. They should have never let him get away. Clearly, in the aftermath of things, no disrespect to my man Tobias Harris, who I've got a lot of love for, but clearly Jimmy Butler was preferred by Embiid over Tobias Harris, and the Sixers didn't want to pay them both a few years back, so they made the decision to pay Tobias Harris more than $180 million and let Jimmy Butler walk away to South Beach, Miami. That was mistake number 1, a huge mistake, because not only was Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets, and somebody that was a rough rider and somebody that would infuse a personality in this team that was made of the championship medal you need representing the city of Philadelphia, but he was also somebody that was beloved by Joel Embiid. So that was a huge mistake on the part of the Philadelphia 76ers. Here is the most egregious one. Here is the most egregious reason why Joel Embiid has yet to get to a conference finals or an NBA finals and obviously not having won a championship. That damn Ben Simmons. Now, I've had enough. I've had enough. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure that Ben Simmons, hell of a player, couldn't shoot but could do everything else. And they talk about mental health and mental illness. It's legit. It's a legit thing in this world. I do not want to hear that about Ben Simmons. It was no mental problems when it came time to cash the checks. It wasn't no mental problems when you were sitting on a bench in street clothes trying to look like Zoolander, the modern-day male model, with your Cartier shades or anything else that you were rocking. Everybody got on black. You got on pink. Everybody rocking a black and white Brooklyn Nets uniform. You got on sky blue or something. Clearly a pretty boy. You wanted to do everything but play. But play. Treating playing basketball like somebody was asking you to get on the front lines of a war. But never, ever, ever failing to pick up your check. Ben Simmons severely disrupted the Philadelphia 76ers franchise. And the same could be said for what he's done in Brooklyn. He is an absolute mess. And if I saw him, I'd tell it to his face. Because I had love for him, and I defended him on countless occasions, tried to give him a second chance. This dude don't want to play bad enough. He doesn't want to play. I'm not questioning his injuries now at the back and everything. He doesn't love the game of basketball enough. That is what caused Joel Embiid, I believe, at least a shot at a trip to the finals. Could you imagine if Ben Simmons had never faded? Could you imagine if Ben Simmons showed up for that Game 7 in Atlanta? If he wasn't scared to shoot a layup? Could you imagine that? That's what Joel Embiid had to deal with. That's the crying shame. And thank God he doesn't have to worry about that with Tyrese Maxey and Paul George, and Kelly Oubre for that matter. Thank God. Joel Embiid deserves better. He really, really does. GOAT conversation or no GOAT conversation, the brother's big time. Plain and simple.